Hi, Janelle Schaefer here with Sheep Hill Herbs, right here in the heart of nature, as Ralph Smart says. Just take a deep breath, breathe in that good, vibrant energy from nature. Have you got outside into nature today? If you want to get through what's going on in the world, you got to get out, get into nature, learn your plants, know what's going on with the world around you, the plant world and animal world around you. So I'm so happy you're here today. This is another herb video, and I'm going to talk about Echinacea. I have never made an Echinacea video. I guess I sort of try to stay away from the super popular herbs and talk about more less typical herbs, but Echinacea is so beautiful at this time of year. It's such an important plant. So I'm going to share what I know about Echinacea with you. So let's get started. All right, so here is this beautiful bed of Echinacea. And the funny thing is, this plant was planted in the back, in the shade. There's some white Echinacea. And it moved itself to the front of this bed, to the sun, and is leaning out as far as it can into the sunshine. Echinacea loves full sun. It is also called purple coneflower and is related to the black-eyed Susan, which is has a smaller cone and yellow petals. Echinacea was one of the very first plants that I was introduced to when I was about 20 years old as a plant to help with recurring yeast infections that I was really struggling with. I was not introduced to Echinacea in the live plant version or the live growing in the ground version. I had Echinacea capsules and I believe some Echinacea tincture, but it worked so wonderfully and so fabulously. I never had any more recurring yeast infections. Look after a little bit more at its identifying characteristics. This plant is easy to identify when it is in bloom. The cone is above the petals. You can see this. They're not, the petals are kind of below, sometimes go downward. Here are the leaves, and I do not know the technical terms, but they come to a point at the end. They have a little bit of a scalloped edge. And this is here's a nice bee that just landed. Oh, missed him. This is what the blossom looks like before it blooms. So Echinacea is usually in full bloom in July. It is definitely a sunny, loving plant. It can get pretty high. It can spread, and often is used for decorative purposes and not for its medicinal. Many people plant it for its decorative. Right, so how do I use Echinacea? I like Echinacea as a tincture. Echinacea root is what I use. I use the root. You have to dig it up, and it has this quality of this tingling kind of quality on the tongue. Echinacea is an immune system booster. So if you have something that you can't quite overcome, it boosts the immune system and helps your body to do what it's supposed to do naturally. I don't recommend Echinacea for long-term use. Usually it's like a round, like maybe 10 days, and then you give your body a break. You don't need to be like never-endingly on Echinacea. There are some crazy testimonies about the use of Echinacea that I have heard, and I guess I don't have these crazy ones as my own personal experience, but I have heard from Dr. Christopher teachings that Echinacea tincture, so if you have the root and turn it into a tincture with alcohol, is very effective with snake bites. And so that's a Native American herbal use. This is a plant used by Native American Indians for a long time, many years. We have it documented. And if I were in the woods or going camping, I actually do bring along Echinacea tincture or Echinacea powder or capsules just in case. You can also use black-eyed Susan root in the same way, and if I were in a super pinch and couldn't get up some good roots, I would use the leaves or the petals and just turn it into a paste best I could, put it on a bite, and also get some ingestion of that Echinacea. So I can't really tell you the exact amount. Dr. Christopher, I think, recommended a 2-ounce bottle of the tincture. That's a lot, but it would be great to have on hand if you're in the woods often. I have also heard, I think it was Dr. Schultz's teachings of someone or some people overcoming cancers with large amounts of Echinacea. So typically, like I said, I only recommend taking it for like 10 days in smaller amounts, like a tincture dropper full, like 20 drops or something, if you're like trying to get over a cold or just some kind of immune stressor. But I have also heard of incidents of large amounts, meaning daily tincture doses multiple times a day for really stubborn issues. This plant is widely available. It is widely loved. It is a more kind of like friendly plant as far as what's accepted for herbal use. I feel like all kinds of people know of Echinacea. Not just us herby people, and that sometimes happens where some plants just get more press or more research done with that plant. To combine Echinacea with golden seal root. Golden seal is more of a rare root. It's been over harvested. I like to have some on hand, and I do make my own tincture for personal use with golden seal and Echinacea and alcohol base. And the combination of the two are awesome. If you had like a tooth infection or some kind of infection, tincture drops every day until that clears up are like amazingly powerful. And then the last thing I just want to say about Echinacea, and really all herbs, if you're learning about herbs and getting involved with herbal medicine, I try to provide like an introduction, just like here's the plant, here is, you know, what I love about the plant here in this video, in my videos. I don't go into tons of information, definitely not into scientific information and research, but I'm kind of like, I want you to just learn to get excited about these plants. I love collecting old plant books. I think the old timers knew how to use plants. These plants have been our medicine and food for thousands of years. I really like the older books, and I would say things before the 90s. I mean, there's still some good books in the 90s, of course, but anything older, if you're at a yard sale, flea market, and you see an old herb book, I will pick it up and start to learn about your plants from the herb books. I wouldn't do a lot of research online because there's a lot of censorship of herbal information online, and the books are the best place to get to know that information. But really the best is trying, just sitting with the plants, growing the plants, beginning to make medicine with plants, and just spending time with them. And that is, I feel like, the best way I have learned using plants every day with my family. And so yeah, Echinacea, one of my very first herbal allies, a beautiful plant to have in your garden, a very useful plant to be growing and have around. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave any comments that you have down below. Check my description for all kinds of links, including I'm going to have Dr. Christopher School of Natural Healing book about all kinds of North American plants, including Echinacea. That is a very good collectible book over on Amazon. You can link over there and get that. And I have in my Etsy shop my Elder Sense tincture that has Echinacea. It is not a standalone herb. There are other herbs like elderberry and frankincense in that tincture, but I do include Echinacea.
for me.
And that's by connecting to my Etsy shop, and I have a link in my description. So yes, let's take a deep breath. Get out in nature today. Get to know your plant world. Thanks, and come again.